For your mothers, for your children, for your clan, today!
Hello good viewers and welcome to the video. Today's topic is the tactical masterpiece Forhonor. I'll discuss why this game is so unique and survived over the 7 years it's been out now, and why I really love this game. So let's jump into my thoughts and experiences, shall we? So, the year was 2017 and it barely started. I was already looking forward to what games were to come out that year, from the likes of the incredible Breath of the Wild to the Series 7 Resident Evil Biohazard. But there was a game that caught my attention because of its bold, unique style of gameplay. It was developed by a company whose games I'd played during my childhood, and although they were all quite similar, they were not the cookie cutter as the ones they produce today. The game that broke their usual pattern of single player stories and was mainly multiplayer, it was called
forhonor,
created by Ubisoft Montreal. I have a vivid memory of my friend showing me a trailer and a gameplay overview of the game. In it, the head director of that game was Jason Vandenberg, and he was talking about his passion project that was about to be released. The game was of course Forhonor, which seemed to be shaping up to be something extraordinary. This game then moved to the top of my wishlist that year. In their trailer we learned that the game is a domination deathmatch with fighting game elements for its flagship mode, featuring a new and unique triangle system that allows you to choose your angle of attack. And, if that was not enough, the game's premise is Viking vs Samurai vs Knights, a concept that reminds me of the old TV show Deadliest Warriors. All these factors convinced me to purchase the game. In doing this, I now had its online beta unlocked to me, so I could start giving it a go when it dropped on February 9th of that year. At that time, me and my group of friends could not wait to give this game a go, as at the time most games were coming out were either single player or something that was on different platforms. So, it was nice to add something else to our list of games to play. Forhonor was looking to be a solid game for us to put alongside Call of Duty and a few other games we were playing at the time. We would later find out this game would test us for one particular reason that we got warned about in the beta we're about to endeavour into. Now looking back at this game, it's a reason I'll never get a game if the beta is buggy. You're probably wondering why I started on such a negative for the story, and that's because it's a constant point of contention for the early part of this game's life cycle. This issue was connectivity. The connectivity issue in this game caused some problems, but once we managed to get into a game, it was absolutely incredible. There was just something so special about it, from its awesome combat to the extremely beautiful graphics that still hold up to this day, and honestly put some of these Ubisoft games that come out these days to shame. If you've been astute, you've probably picked up on the fact I called it a primarily multiplayer game. This game in fact has a campaign story. Yes, it has a story to set up why the multiplayer is even happening. You follow the perspective of many characters fighting their way of many battlefields against a building force calling themselves the Blackstone Legion, led by the Steppe Me Queen, the warmonger herself, Apollyon.
Do you know what kind of creature waits for its own slaughter? Sheep.
The story is honestly very solid and a lovely setup for this game, which they've continued telling through the multiplayer seasons, and if you want to freshen up on it, Ubisoft has even released an animated refresher on their YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description below. The campaign is relatively short and can be played in co-op mode as well. However, if you decide to play it now, it still employs the old game's mechanics for the heroes you play as. This might feel a bit unusual if you're used to the new multiplayer mechanics. I love the story's premise of Apollyon wanting endless war, and all the fights and cutscenes are well choreographed and look freaking awesome. I highly recommend you should check it out. Let's return to the core of the game, the multiplayer and the main game mode that originally attracted me to this amazing game, Dominion. Yes, let's get into the meat of what makes this game mode so good and complements Forhonor's combat. This great new take on domination was moulded for this awesome game. It has the same premise as old school domination, where you need to hold the most points to win the game, but when you get to the max score you hear the booming commentator's voice shouting, "Breaking!" At this point, whichever team has 1,000 points makes the other team not be able to respawn. Now folks, that's not all. You can get out of this tight situation by recapturing points to break the curse bestowed upon your team. There does become a point where this cannot be reversed, and so your game will end if you do die. You thought I was done? Of course not. Dominion's middle point is what me and the For Honor chaps call the minion lane. This lane has an ongoing war between the smallest of your forces, but these little lads have heart. Yes, this ongoing battle can have its tide turned by you. Yes, you the player kill the other's team minions and claim this beautiful point. Now if this point is left alone by you or the other team, the minions will fluctuate by killing each other, moving to one side to the other. So you're starting to see what makes Dominion Dominion. Wrong, fools, forget all about that because no one plays the objective, so don't even bother. I'm just joking, kind of, but the game mode does need some thought and some lessons from the art of war. Honestly, it's why I love this game mode, as there's so much to think about and keep your team on the winning side of the game. Now to help you understand how to win a game in Dominion, I'll apply lessons learned from the incredible Chinese philosopher Sun Tzu. Now the good Tzu says there's 5 factors in the art of war. 1 being the moral law. Now the moral law says all warriors to be in complete accordance with their leader and follow them regardless of their lives. You're probably thinking this does not apply to For Honor, but it can, especially if you're with friends. Essentially, if you have the most experienced player of your team dictate the flow of battle, as they have experienced how to predict how people will play and where they will be around the battlefield. Now if you're solo queuer like moi, this could be done in a situation where your team is lacking coordination. To gain the attention of your team and command them to go to the right point can be done by spamming the chat prompts given on the left hand of your screen. This should hopefully give the desired effect. You can also use your mic, or if you're on PC, use the actual chat function to add those heinous comments to your commands to add that extra oomph that you might need. Now the second factor is what the good lad Zoo calls heaven. Heaven signifies the conditions of war, like the rain, weather, where you are. Now this applies to For Honor through the map selection function. This will not affect gameplay, but will make the game look gorgeous in different ways, as each map has different seasons you can pick from, and you could even pick different times as well. Honestly, I just use Heaven to complement the awesome maps and the visuals. Now viewers, we're on to the factor called Earth. Now the good Sue says that Earth compromises distance, great and small, dangerous security, open ground and narrow passes, the chances of life and death. Now you should definitely take this factor into account, as knowing your battlefield can make your For Honor experience so much more tolerable. I died a lot from being ledged and dropped on when I first originally played this game, but now with my experiences with playing the game, you start to learn the battlefield and where to place yourself. Your footing is everything. Also knowing where to place yourself in a team fight can be a good thing too, as the game offers friendly fire and some moves that characters can multi-hit from. So having yourself be a step back in some situations can up your survivability immensely. And don't always try to kill steal unless it's beneficial to your teammate who may be low on health, as sometimes if you engage the enemy in an obvious rush tactics, you can proc at the opponent's revenge. Now let's talk about the commander factor. Essentially, Zoo advised to be smart by carefully choosing the right situations to intervene in, selecting the right point to contend or defend, and avoid being a pathetic, rage-quitting coward. These are his words, not mine.
Right, let's just check those factors and see what he says. Ooh, what's this? Oh my Zoo, you dastardly devil.
The final factor is method and discipline. Firstly, select a character that you feel comfortable with and learn all their mechanics to understand their very essence. Once you obtain the necessary experience, start to learn about your opponents, especially those characters you struggle against. Enter For Honor's solid training mode and observe which moves work best against those characters. Also, learn the parry timings as well. This will aid you in fighting against variable heavy spammers like Hitakiri and Shigoki. Now I hope these factors from Zoo have been helpful and will help you turn the tide in the battlefield, until you run against a well-teamed gank squad, and then I'm truly sorry, we are not all Faraam. As you start to see with this weird exploration of Dominion, and the tactics you can deploy within them, there is nothing else like this game. This is a combination of a mixture of things For Honor offers, and by surprise many other games do not take inspiration from, which is a shame as it's definitely awakened something in me and hits my endorphins. Now viewers, the core of this game will stay very solid, but the characters and the mechanics are ever-changing tide. This will lead to my next section on DLC characters and the combat. We now jump into May of the first year of For Honor, when me and my mate, we'll call them Fish, as blessing me at the memory of one, jumped back in as the first 2 new heroes had dropped, and we wanted to check them out. But alas, dear Fish, we found another problem with this unpredictable game. So if you're familiar with fighting games, especially in the modern age of DLC characters, you may already know where this is going, especially if you experience a character launch in this game. Yes, I don't know whether it's planned or it's just hard to balance a new character coming into the meta of the game, but my god was the Centurion and the Ninja just a little bit strong. I barely remember much from this time, as being hit by a Centurion haymaker or kicked by the bloody ninja took a few brain cells from me. Now I know for a lot of people when a new character is launched they would stop playing the game after a while and wait for the inevitable patch, as some of these characters were so hard to deal with and they came in huge quantity.
as their abilities alone could be the most annoying thing to deal with. Though poor Cent did get a major nerf after this, and nobody really played him, he didn't really deserve that, bless him. Though he is a very solid character these days, and I would highly recommend playing him, he's fun as hell. This is what the cycle of the game would now become, with the characters dropping every few months for the first year or two in their own seasons. So obviously with all these new characters coming out, balancing became an issue, so Ubisoft needed to do something about it. Obviously they have their own QA in there, but they thought to add the community to it, so they brought in these community controlled playtests called testing grounds. Like I mentioned earlier with Centurion, he's been buffed and nerfed over the years and has also been part of these testing grounds. In testing grounds, game mechanics and character features can be modified and adjusted. Players have the opportunity to provide feedback on these changes and report any bugs they encounter to the developers. This allows the developers to fine-tune the game and make improvement based on player input. It's a fantastic way of making your community feel heard, and I do think that's one of the reasons that For Honor has had such a consistent player base, as they bothered to listen and change things to keep the game consistent and polished for its players. But it is also a way of killing a character or making them null and void, as some characters do get forgotten about and never really end up in testing grounds. For example, Nusha or Peacekeeper. I mean, they've literally added a move and removed it for some reason. Yeah, as I said about the Centurion, they can get nerfed too much or just have the fun taken out of them, like the Conqueror. He's just a bash machine and it's all heavy attacks. It's not really fun to play him anymore. But overall, I think testing grounds is a good thing that Ubisoft provides. Now, speaking of heroes and testing grounds, I'll inform you about the combat system in this game and why it's amazing. Now, if you're familiar with the system, I'll put a little timestamp ahead so you can skip past this bit, but if you're not, just stick around and have a little listen. We'll start with the basics that every hero has. In For Honor, each hero has a light and heavy attack that can be combined for unique combos to that hero. Also, as you can see from the background footage, there is a orange sort of attack, and that is your unblockables. Now, unblockables can come in the form of bashes or as attacks, like as you can see with the Warden, and basically cannot be blocked by normal means, and can only be blocked by parries or dodges. Additionally, every hero can execute a guard break, which is a grab that can either lead to an attack or a throw. However, the most important aspect of For Honor's combat is the triangle directional system, which allows player to attack, defend in 3 different directions, top, left and right. This system works well and particularly useful in teamfights, as it allows for smooth flowing battles in your gameplay. Now, all heroes have a zone attack that can close the distance between players, and that's by placing the trigger and the bumper at the same time, and I don't know the buttons on PC, I'm sorry. As I briefly mentioned before, you can pull off such defensive moves as parries, which using the heavy attack button when a player is attacking with either a heavy or light, you can parry knowing the right timings. Or as you can see in some of the background footage, there's such a thing as faking out an attack, where you go in for attack, a heavy attack to be more specific, and press the B button to cancel out. You can also do this with long stage bashes, such as the Centurion's bash and the Warden's bash. There are many combat techniques in this game that some heroes may not possess, such as bashes and dodge attacks. Additionally, some heroes like Highlander and Monk have a unique form that they can utilise. If you're playing as an assassin hero like Gladiator, you can execute an impressive move called a deflect to showcase your skill. There are also elements to the combat that are game mode based, such as abilities and revenge. Abilities can provide buffs and include using weapons like bows or catapults. While in some situations this may be challenging to deal with, once you understand how they work, you can handle them and avoid them. Moving on to the topic of revenge. This ability is not as formidable as it once was, largely due to people's familiarity with it. Revenge is essentially a superpower that helps to level the playing field in an unfair fight. When you find yourself fighting against multiple opponents, and you manage to hold your own for a while, you are granted the power up that resembles something you might see in an anime. This power up gives you a full shield as well as a damage boost for a brief period of time, thus ensuring the fight is more balanced. You now have a good understanding of the main combat mechanics and the heroes that make up this game's roster. However, at the beginning of For Honor's life cycle, the game was not as fleshed out and as polished as it is today. I needed something more to keep me playing and to bring me back to the game. That one thing was when the Fire Nation attacked.
Yes, ladies and gents, a new faction has entered the building, and they hail from China. With Marching Fire added a new faction, as I just stated, with 4 new heroes, a new PvP game mode, and an arcade co-op mode. This was a huge expansion, and my god was it an awesome one. Undoubtedly, the most significant aspects of Marching Fire were the introduction of the new faction and the new PvP mode called Breach. Playing with the 4 new heroes really brought a fresh feel to the game, with their unique combat styles. However, some were very overpowered, while others did not live up to their potential. Nevertheless, the new game mode Breach was the main factor that drew me back into playing this game again. At that time, I must confess, I was still hesitant to purchase any new characters. However, my friend Fish and my other friend from our launch group, who I will refer to as Bear, were both enthusiastic about trying out the new Siege mode. Unlike other PvP modes, this new mode involved attacking and defending, and it was absolutely thrilling. Talking about this is making me understand why I love this game's main game modes. Fighting opponents is fun, but having to also account for strategy adds to the battle experience, and Breach was another example to add to that list. As much as Chivalry did this well, there is just something about Forhonor's combat that adds to the gameplay. Also, having 4 maps, each in the style of the faction, is a great touch. Playing this game today, there's only really 3 standout modes: Dominions, Duels and Brawls, and of course Breach. My only problem with this epic game mode, it can be quite long. Yes, it can even take up to about 40 minutes if you're not careful. Now personally, this would not be a problem for me, but my good viewers, if you're getting your ass absolutely handed to you, it's gonna feel so much longer. I believe the release of Marching Fire was a pivotal moment for For Honor, as it added a lot to the game. However, after this, there was only ever the addition of new characters. There wasn't much else added to the game. My friends and I continued to play the game for some time after Marching Fire, but eventually stopped after the release of Jormungandr. I only returned to the game during the Golden Age season, and there was a big reason for my return. You're also probably wondering why I barely talked about the arcade mode, and that's because it was quite boring, and I did not have it at the time of this release. I do now have it, and I have about a few hours playtime in it. It's not great, but you can get some cosmetics from it, and the XP is not great either, so it's really quite avoidable if you want, unless you're going for orders. You're also fighting AI, which can make the fights quite boring or extremely annoying, so I tend to avoid it. You don't have to pay for it anymore, as it's now free after the release of Year 8. But I do believe that's kind of saying something that they made it free. I don't think many people played this mode. Wait, is that Suai here wanted to go back and talked about how to use his tactics in that spectacular siege mode called Breach? Oh, what's that, Zoo? I can't hear your boring ass shit about tactics, as Breach desires brute force and explosions. Plow yourself to a win in Breach, you must back up your warriors and defend that ram so you can smash your way through the opposing team's defenses and get to the commander to mess that f***er up. Now that we have witnessed the Michael Bay of For Honor's game modes, we shall jump into the vital addition that saves For Honor's matchmaking. And that, ladies and gents, is the beginning of crossplay. As you may have noticed from my loose timeline of experiences with For Honor, I wasn't very committed to this game at the beginning. However, there was something about it that kept drawing me back and has continued to do so over time. One of the instances when I noticed a significant improvement in my gaming experience was when crossplay was first introduced. Although I had attempted to play this game on a few occasions before this, I've always faced the issue of not being able to find a game, or taking it so long to get into a game, sometimes 5 minutes at most, which is insane. That's like Overwatch 2 levels of wait time. However, with the introduction of crossplay, the player pool expanded to include players from different platforms. This led to a considerable decrease in time taken to find a game. Previously, finding a game could take over 5 minutes, like I said, but now it takes no longer than not even 10 seconds sometimes. The difference was so significant that it greatly enhanced my overall gaming experience. Now, with most games, people would moan about crossplay, as PC players can be way sweatier than most console players, and there's always that last dregs of the console war going on between the console players as well. While this is all happening, the PC players are stomping on said console players, and you get the idea. Regarding For Honor, it was a game-changing move by Ubisoft to do this. The game's matchmaking system drastically improved, resulting in faster access to online games. Additionally, the player pool increased significantly, providing a wider range of opponents to fight against. Overall, it was a great decision by Ubisoft and greatly enhanced the game experience for all players. By bringing a community closer together, you can make it easier to attract new members. In the past, it was difficult to find players to join the game, because connecting with others was so time-consuming. However, combining all the player pools from each platform has helped revive the game to bring it back to life. Also, as this game's lifecycle has been so long, it has spanned across a second generation of consoles, finally allowing console players to hit those sexy ass light parries due to the graphic and performance upgrades. Now I want to go into an important subject for Honor that I love and get annoyed about, and that's For Honor's community and some of those awesome YouTubers that front it. Like me, if you follow For Honor on YouTube, you'll probably know a few of the YouTubers I'll mention in this section. Like crossplay, these guys played a huge part into why I came back to the game. Watching these guys play beautifully and moan about the annoying mechanics of this game. Let's start with the very chill Solidsoul, whose videos can go from a tier list on who the best characters are, to a guide-like video on a hero who decided to play at the time. I find him my favourite YouTuber who I will always keep up with and return to his videos. I really like his vibe and the way he talks about For Honor as it relates to my core. Now, if you're into just the pure combat, you should be looking at the Team Slayer Faraam, who I mentioned earlier, who proved that ganks are no match for him. Or if you're more of a 1v1 duelist, King Misty is up your alley. The Polite Gent is an incredible duelist who can sometimes attract some of the most salty competition, who he destroys with kindness. Now there's one more legend among my forhonor YouTuber selection, and honestly he's a sort of a mix of them all, topped with a lovely British accent. This stand-up gent is of course the legendary Warden Havok. All these YouTubers I've mentioned I'll leave links to if you're interested in seeing some of their content, but honestly if you're watching this video you've probably already heard them. And honestly if there's any I've missed out that you think I should check out, please leave them in the comments. Now I'll be bringing up the community you'll be facing, the people on the battlefield. Now you will be facing a lot of salty players as this is a fighting game and it does get to us sometimes. Because you're just going to have those moments where you're just fed up of getting ganked and you're solo queuing, or you're just having a time. At that point, you just need to, take a little break, get away from the teabaggers, get some freshen up and some training, or just play a different game, chill out, play some Vampire Survivors. Finally, I'm at peace. Nothing can stop me nor harm me. I'm at true serenity. Or you could jump into something story-driven like Baldur's Gate.
The rat seems agitated. Afraid. It must know that you killed some of its peers.
I did no such thing. And I'll prove you wrong, you stupid little rat, by passing this real easy speech check. God damn it. I don't know, whatever game that's a bit more chill than For Honor or a fighting game. That's not as competitive, I would say. But yeah, I would definitely recommend any story-driven game after bashing out on any multiplayer game. You need that even balance. And even if you don't want to play like another game, taking a break would be a good idea, as all good things are taken in moderation. And you might start rage quitting games if you don't take a break or play something different, and nobody wants that. What's the point of playing it otherwise? Honestly, don't come to the point where you're just quitting out of a game because you're losing. If you're doing that, you're ruining the experience for everyone else. Honestly, it's a thing to do in any game, let alone a game where you've just started, you've gotten beaten a few times and you quit and you've left your team in the shit. I solo queue a lot, and I know the frustrations people go through, whereas you're with a team that doesn't know the team fight, or you just get that ganking team that's filled with Hitakiris and Shigokis and shit like that. You do need to find like a solid ground, and if you're having trouble, either just take some time to go into, some training, learn these guys you're struggling with, and then persevere once you're in the solo queue. Or like look on community pages like Discord, and Xbox even offers like a group system where you can just look up people looking for Dominion groups all the time, so you can team up with other people, even the playing field a bit. I just highly recommend if you're really getting annoyed at the game, just take a break. Don't ruin it for someone else just because you decided to go into another game to eke out some XP just to leave and leave them in the Don't do that. It's not fun for anyone, especially the other team as well, because they'll just get bored. They might as well just go play, against AI. They're getting more competition out of that in the end. I do think this is also on the response of Ubisoft as well. If you're pushing ganking, it really makes it unfair for everyone else who plays your game, such as solo queuers like myself. I love this game's combat, and I love the fact you can go up against multiple opponents. You just need to make a good balance. And I believe the next testing grounds, that's the word, bloody hell, that took me a while, is going to be sorting that out, making it more even, which is good to hear. That's why I love testing grounds. But honestly, I hope they do find a good balance between the two. Obviously, you don't want one to become more overpowered than the other, because it doesn't make sense for a guy just to get revenge and, kill a whole team. It should take that little bit of skill to give that edge. And I don't think a gank squad should just be so painful where you just get in stun slot into a position by Hitakiri, Shigokis, or even Wardens are great at bashing and keeping you stunned. But yeah, it's also the responsibility of Ubisoft. I don't feel like you're getting bashed by B. I just don't like people quitting the game. I don't think many other people would do either. I've seen Solidsoul's video moaning about it as well. It's not fun. I would like to play with team, even if they are. I'd rather like someone to come in and ruin my fight and giving the other team revenge than having an AI do it, because at least I know they're learning and it's not some moron AI doing thing for my team and just, giving them kills or whatever. I will also say this, do any means necessary to win. Like, don't go into a Dominion game and try and do 1v1s and honourable duels or play honourably. Play to win. That's the whole point of Dominion. I know the game's called For Honor, but nobody really plays that honorable, especially guys who are in team ganks and stuff. Play to win and play to help your team. I hate being in a fight where I'm losing and I see my teammate ready there to step in. Just step in and I'll back off. And if there's a moment where I'm there and I'm stepping in, don't carry on if you need a heal. Back off. I'm tagging you out. This is just something that annoys me. Like, learn the ways of the game. Don't always carry on with a fight because you're low on health and your teammate's there backing you up, because you're just going to boost that guy's revenge. Back off. Let your teammate carry on. Have a bit of reliance on him. Have a little bit of respect for him. It's same with the other way around. Like, if you're low on health, if you see your teammate low on health, go and help them, let him back off, get some heals in, or if there's multiple opponents, you can stick around then, because that's the only reason I would see to stick around. It's not bad to play this game not honorably. That's the whole point of it. You get given tools like a fucking catapult, for instance, and a bow. Utilize them against the other team and win that game. You'll have more fun this way as well. It is funny pushing people off edge, as everyone, because it happens to you all the time, so do it so there's some other knobhead. Enjoy the game. Right, I'm going to cut in here. As you can tell, I've got a bit too passionate about this and started ranting. You can play honorably if you want. I'm not going to stop that. But I will say this now because I used to play similarly to this and do stuff like this and be like, why am I getting annoyed and killed like this? People won't ever play like that. In a game where you're given options to go ulterior motives, like such as Dominion, it's a 4v4 at the end of the day. You're not going to get someone honor that duel between you and the other team all the time. Like, if I see someone having a fight and I know they can win the fight, I'll leave them to that 1v1 fight. But if they're clearly struggling, I'm not going to leave them to 1v1 fight in Dominion, because it's Dominion. You're winning the game by capturing these points and pushing the other team out by breaking. It's not duels where you're 1v1 at the time and you can be honorable at the start. That makes sense for that mode. For instance, like the new free-for-all mode has come in, and you get these people who hang around the back letting people duke it out. That just defeats the really fun purpose of free-for-all. Like, you're meant to have this little brawl in the middle with all three of you, not wait for the other opponents to duke it out so you can duel the last guy because he has less health. I guess it's a tactic, but you're just going to annoy the other two players. Play how you want to, but I just found when I played honorably in Dominion, you just get wrecked and you get more annoyed, and it's very unnecessary to play like that. Don't be afraid to use tools or be like a scumbag sometimes, especially if you've had a few bad games. Use those catapults, use those balls, even the playing field and win. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. This is if you're like really competitive. If you're playing to chill, ignore what I've just said, play how you want. But if you're playing to win, don't get annoyed because someone's broken up your duel like this. Another thing is a lot of characters can be quite overpowered in this game. I love Vanguard Guard, and I know she's very powerful. I also love Warden, and he doesn't have as much tools, so I always have a tough game as Warden. So if I start having a few tough games as Warden, I'll switch to Vanguard Guard, have a few good games. It's just one of those sad things, but Warden is getting a buff, hopefully soon, so that will make it way more fun to play him. But really, when you're playing some characters, it can make Dominion much harder and much more salty, I can tell you that. Whereas just like, get a flavour for the playing field, how you want to play. I would definitely not recommend trying to play honourable or sticking to that one point and a bit like, giving the little emote tap. I've had it where people pretend to do emote taps and attack me afterwards. That's just how people play this game sometimes, and you can't expect everyone to play by that honourable way. It's not like that in For Honor. Like I said before, the name is very, very misleading. So if you want to win, don't play honourably. Play to win, back up your team, and be a good team player. Apologies, I've been rambling on for some bit about this, but it's just one of those things. I love solo queuing. I think it's still a good thing to do because you get to work with so many different people, and it's really awesome to get a game where you're working with these people who know what they're doing. Like, whether that's just from like playing the objective or backing you up, it is nice to feel respected in this game because you're getting disrespected by the other team no matter what. But to get disrespected by your own team really sucks sometimes. And just work as a team, people. Learn how to team fight. And honestly, I think this is something they should definitely get out of the bloody training. Is learning how to deal with revenge and team fighting so people can get a better idea of it. Because that is the only experience you're going to get from actually playing in a game. Because people don't understand it. Cause it's crazy how many like actual experienced players I see go in bashing the shit out of someone just to give them revenge, even though they're not doing any damage, to just upping that revenge in an unnecessary way. On a serious note, don't let toxic players get to you, especially people on your team or the other team giving you messages. Enjoy the game, you can mute them, they can f*** off. honestly, this game is fun, and everyone has to learn, and this game has a steep learning curve. If you're really struggling, I suggest honestly watching YouTubers. That's how I learn from a lot of fighting games, is watching how they play and learning from that. If you're still struggling, then see if you can team up with another player, like I said, join a little community. They will help you. There's many good people in this community. Don't let the dickhead teabaggers get to you, or message you. I know PC's probably worse because you actually get the chat function. I was joking earlier in the zoo bit, don't do that. If you can spam messages like, good fight, whatever, that's right. But if you're sending hateful, it's not fun, guys. During this community discussion, I also did notice like a lot of the emotes, Ubi ads are quite rage-inducing. I mean, you got some salty emotes, like such as the Ninja's chicken emote, or literally the one that's rubbing salt. I guess these are in good fun, but I don't like especially that execution with the bell. I think that's a bit eccentric. I mean, you're literally shaming your opponent. It's fun, but then again, you're just exemplifying a community. Ubisoft, don't do that. Have quick emotes, respectful emotes, whatever. People could teabag without them. I mean, most people teabag with just the basic emotes anyway. You don't need to add these disgusting, annoying emotes that go on for way too long. Yeah, just stop it, Ubisoft. Add some nice stuff. I don't know. I like all these paired emotes. They look great. I want to dance on my opponent's corpse. It's quite funny. I find it funny when people do it to me. I find it funny when I'm getting beat to shit with a bell. He's ringing it, shaming me like fucking Cersei from Game of Thrones. What the f? Who thought of that is a fucking sociopath? Jesus Christ. I'm gonna quickly jump into it here again. You can use these emotes and executions. I just do think it's a bit unnecessary, some of them. Like I say, I keep bringing up the bell one because it goes on for a long while, especially if you're one of those people who's dueled someone on one of the points and you've got killed and you have to wait for this execution to kill you every time. It's a dickhead execution. You can waste your steel on it if you want. I'm just saying they should add more things like... It'd be nice to see more flourishes, because you only get to see 1 or 2 of Warden, I think. I don't know if many of characters have seen it. But like quick emotes that look like you're entering a fight or stuff, I would like personally. You can have whatever you want. There's plenty of salty emotes, trust me, if you like that stuff. My god, Ubisoft has your back there. But honestly, yeah, more weapon flourishes would be awesome. I love the paired emotes, like I just said. They look good fun, and it's always funny to see at the end of the game when people like, jumping into a disco or stuff, or doing the little respect handshake, or having a slapsy fight. I love these emotes. I like the music ones as well. They're really cool. It's just some of them, it's just a little too much on the salty side, which is great when you come across the player that's playing like a tool or being a dickhead, and using them against you. You can use them back. But I feel like I would like more quick flourish emotes for like duel fights and stuff that look cool. There's not too many of those. I don't think anyway. I don't really buy them that often, but I see a lot on the battlefield, and a lot of people buy the beating the shit out of you and spitting on you one, and the bell ringing one. They're usually gank squads and stuff. Yeah, anyways. I'm ranting. You can like this stuff if you want. I personally don't. I think it's not a great idea to keep adding more of this stuff. You're just inciting more of a toxic community. If you want to keep building up a community base, you don't want to push other potential players away by pushing this sort of agenda. Halo does it right in the fact people teabag and it's just crouching, right? They're not buying an email and put it in the game where you're just absolutely just, dominated opponent. That's sort of Fortnite level, where you just go and diving on the player. It's just weird. It doesn't make sense for Fortnite either. I was thinking this the other day when I was playing it. The game ended and it was all dancing and stuff, and I was like, how is this the same game that I was just playing when we're having a proper duel fights? A battle, and at the end of the game they're fucking slapping each other and dancing. How does it get to that? Whereas like you go from Halo and you finish the fight, they're all looking honourable at the end screen. It's like, it's so weird. Yeah, you wouldn't expect it from For Honor, but it's very emote centric, just like Fortnite and games like that. It's very strange. But yeah, add some more flourish emotes, warfare emotes. That's what I want. Starting a battle stuff. Give me that stuff. It's pretty cool. Talking all about this wants me to, talk about what I want from the future of For Honor, which is the next section, which we'll jump into now. During the time of making this video, Ubisoft has done one of their update streams called Warrior's Den. It's awesome that they do these streams and also share these roadmaps each year, as it constantly keeps the community excited for things to come. During these live streams they show off new things to come to this never-ending game, such as new heroes, skins, and all these good battle passes and whatnot. And also they go on about testing grounds and what's coming up in that. Now, if you're familiar with a good live service, there must be one hook that the game must get right, and then provide the player base with communication and consistency. One of the reasons why I enjoy playing For Honor is because of its challenging combat and gameplay. It's difficult to master, but it's incredibly satisfying once you do. Obviously, in terms of the game's hook for me, it is the combat, like I just said. But a great live service requires consistency, such as additional characters or modes. For Honor now offers also a battle pass that provides constant content for players, including some decent cosmetics. These passes are excellent, and it's relatively easy to level up in them compared to some other games. All the items available in these passes are cosmetics ranging from new weapon styles to like effects, new colours for your character. Also, they offer free event passes as well, which is super awesome. And they've also started to do legacy passes, so each season they now have the main pass, sometimes an event pass, and a legacy pass, which is a pass that's happened a few years back or whenever they started doing the battle passes. And if you missed out on them, you can get all the stuff again and level up through during that. Also, if you want the new stuff for new characters, say like the Vangarian Guard, you can now get that as well, which is awesome. So there's 101 tiers now in these big passes, or however many tiers there are. I believe it's 101. But yeah, it's awesome. Now you can get the Vangarian Guard with Withendale gear, and it's like, yes, this is what I want. Giving more cosmetics for these new characters you want to keep playing. 'Cause I do love the Vangarian Guard myself, surprisingly. I hated it at the beginning because she was a pain in the ass to deal with, but I've loved playing her since, as you can see in the gameplay. For Honor still releases characters. I was going to say seasonally, but I believe they're releasing 2 this year. I believe one's a Japanese hero and one's an Outlander, if I'm correct. I'm probably wrong. I'll correct myself in the footage in the background. But it is definitely 2 characters. I was also about to suggest the development team should add more content besides new heroes or weapon battle passes. However, during the time I've taken to record this video, the whole Year 8 stuff's come out, so obviously we're getting 2 revamped maps. We've got this new 1v1v1 mode, which is amazing, and I hope they actually keep in the game, and I want to do an actual video on it because it's so good. Like, it's a free-for-all mode that it's just been needed in this game. It's based on the original trailer, which I suggest you check out because the original trailer is awesome and fantastic. CGI, love it. But yes, this year's gonna be awesome for like content-wise. All the stuff they're adding, loads of hero skins, game modes, maps again. Maps, refresh maps, beautiful. Sorry, too excited. Obviously, you'll see in the background the 1v1v1 mode, and obviously some of Year 8's already been released. I've got the new hero skin, which looks amazing. Obviously, again, based on the original CGI story trailer for the game. It looks so good. Honestly, like, this year looks excellent for Honor, and it's another reason why I wanted to make this video, because I want to get more people into this game. It's so well done live service, and I do think Ubisoft do actually get live service quite right, or just are good at saving their games, if that makes sense. But yeah, consistency is what they can get right, and I just hope they can put more into this game, because it's clear that these devs love this game, because you can see from just the animations to the character designs to how the game just plays. This game is just beautiful in every section. Obviously, it has its problems, like with bugs and issues, but most games do. There's just something special about For Honor, and I mean, let's just get into the next section of why I love this game so much, honestly. First off, the team at Ubisoft Montreal puts a ton of effort into creating visually stunning content. The character designs and animations are consistently well done, as you can see from the new hero skins and armor designs in general. I think this is definitely another point why I love this game. I'll pick a character for demonstration of this, Aphira. I don't like to play as her that much, but I'll show off her animations and her design. They are exceptional. I'll show you gameplay of using the moves and abilities, and now you'll see what I mean about beautiful animation. I will note that it's not just Aphira. All characters in this game will look and feel so unique. It's hard to not constantly switch between them all and stick with one character, but my god, when you do, you really love that character. I mean, I've been enjoying playing Warden lately. I didn't think I would, because it's just one of those people you're like, oh, it's a Warden main again. But honestly, the character just feels really fun to play, and there's something about it when you're going against these ridiculously hard characters like Hitakiri. Highland is really hard against Warden, but then you just put off some sick fucking fast parries with... Oh, yeah. There's something about this game, man. I can rave about it. When you get those matches and a duel and you pull off, you go through all these moves and your character looks awesome while doing it. It's amazing. Yeah, I'll stop ranting. Back to it. And on to secondly why I love it. Just the ways a fight can go once you learn your character. You can see the difference in the way you play when you first started to how now you play this game. I mean, I've sucked at the beginning. I used to pick Hitakiri because I wasn't good at the game. Used to gank people. Yeah, it's just, I didn't like the way I played back then, but now I go through characters to see what I enjoy doing with them, and clearly I love parrying. It's a way to get it through me.
just grab me all the time because I'm going to go for those parries even though I shouldn't because the guard break me 4 times. But my god, when you pull off like a really light parry, oh, it is just sexy, especially when you do a few in the row and you're like, yeah, I knew what you were fucking doing. But honestly, this game's combat is so satisfying once you get into it. I do think a few things do need to be refined here and there, but honestly, it's really fun when you get into it. And I hope they keep keeping the heroes unique, because a lot of the new heroes coming out are getting too many tools to them. As much as I love Vanguard Guard, I think she has way too much going for her. It's probably why I like playing her. I mean, she has what, a full stance block. She has a dodge attack. She has a I can't remember what they call it, where you attack into one of their attack, counter attack sort of thing. She has a lot going for her. Whereas then you go back to the Warden, who has barely much going for her. He doesn't have a dodge attack. He does have a few things. He has bashes. Again, Vanguard Guard also has bloody bash. I forgot about that. But give your character some limitations. So when you play them, when you're fighting against these other opponents that have good mix-ups against you, you don't have all the tools to deal with that. So it does take your skill and forethought to deal with that. That's what this game should keep, and not giving every new character everything to deal with, such as fucking Aztec. That character, honestly, too much going for him, and he's so fast, and he has endless fucking streams of combos. Who thought of that idea was pain. That's all I'll say. Going to what I was saying there about like picking your characters and having too much, you have to take everything into consideration when you go into a fight. So say I'm facing up a Warden, I need to watch out for their bash, because that'll be their main attack strategy most of the time, because it's the thing that you can get heavy attack off on, light attacks, something you've got to keep aware of. So dodging can be a really effective tool against a Warden, but then again they could be using that to bait you out. It's things like this I love about fighting games in general, where you have to think on your feet constantly and think about what your opponent's going to do, and when you pull off that feat and beat that opponent, it feels great, especially when you're going against multiple opponents, and that's what For Honor does exceptionally well. Yeah, kinda. They need to balance the ganking a bit, because if you do get a very good gank team, you're going to get stunned, which is not fun in a fight. You need to have an ability to be able to fight back in a fight and not get your ass absolutely stomped on. So they should definitely work on that. But once you go against a team that doesn't know how to team fight and you pull off some good, it feels amazing. Now thirdly, we should talk about the customization of this game. That's right, viewers, it's one of those games where you can make your character look wild, and the best thing is, the more you play that character, the more pieces of gear you unlock for them, and the cooler they will look. The way you level up in For Honor is you have 20 levels, and then you have 1 level of reputation, sort of like a prestige in a COD or a game like that. But each time you get a reputation level, you get more and more gear customization, more different rarities in it. So you start off with common, then uncommon, sort of like that in like a looter shooter with guns and stuff. But the higher tier gear looks way cooler. There are some like a little effects that you can get from it, but it really, they've nerfed it since the launch of the game, where it doesn't really affect the game that much at all. Sometimes you can get revenge a little earlier than you should if you put a few pieces to gear overall, but the rarity of the gear, I think, in the main thing is to make your character look dapper as because my god, some of the outfits you can pull off in this game look amazing. And obviously there's the new hero skins that are beautiful. Like a lot of these, there's a few, 1 or 2 I don't like, but doesn't mean they don't look amazing. I just don't want to wear them personally, but my god, they put a lot of effort and detail into these beautiful skins. I love the customization in this game. I love how, like, when you stick with that character, you look more badass and you play more badass. It's just the way it works. It's so cool. If you don't want to, like, you know, obviously struggle against other opponents because you're not too good in a fight, you can always just go into AI battles, play against them, and go through the customization that way, because For Honor offers that as well. It's great. I love it. Now you're starting to see the gameplay loop that got me hooked. I love this game's combat, sticking with my character, getting cool looking gear, and improving my skill and know-how of the game. You could say it's For Honor's Holy Trinity. Also, this Holy Trinity is affected by character errors, which a specific character is selected to receive double XP for a few days. This gives the player reason to check them out and stick with them for a while. Additionally, if you have saved up some silver, you can purchase a new execution that comes with this character. A lot of my mains nowadays have come from recent character events such as Warmonger and Nubushi. I didn't realise how much I would enjoy playing those two, but my god, these character events have made me play them. Another thing, if you don't actually own that character during the character event, that character's free for you for a few days, so you can give them a go in combat, see how they are in actual fight against other people. Because you can actually try out non-paid for characters in training mode if you want as well, which is another great feature I love. This game does a lot for its players, and I think it does it very well, and it's just one of these few things. By this point, if you want to give this game a go, you can get versions on Game Pass and PS Plus if you own either of those services. So come on, give it a little go if that's the case. It's a pretty fun game, especially if you enjoy fighting games. And if you're interested in buying it, I'm pretty sure they've released new versions of the game for new players as well, which is an excellent idea. And the art for them, mwah, good touch, Ubisoft, love it. I wish I could have that on my little Xbox home screen, but I can't, sadly. I've got the original from 7 years ago at this point. My god, that was a long time ago, but I've enjoyed it ever since. Now we've gotten to the end of this video, my good viewers, and hopefully this video has accomplished the point I wanted to get across on why I love this game and why I want you to give it a go. If you can, that would be lovely. Even for its annoying little bits here and there, it's still a really fun game, and I hope if you've watched this video you can go and enjoy it as well, because I enjoy this game very much. I love the combat, and there's something so good about it. But honestly, if you really love fighting games and want a different variety of how you can play them, For Honor is definitely the game for you. Because instead of the old 1v1 matches you get in like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, all that, this is 4v4 Dominion. It's so unique and I love it. I wish more combat games were like this. I do love Chivalry and I do play it from time to time, but it's just, there's something more about For Honor where I can pick a character and really get a good feel for them. When I pick Warden, I love playing Warden, and it's just such an awesome moment when you pull off a parry, you take on opponents that are definitely way stronger than you. Poor Warden, you'll get in that buff soon. But you can go from Warden, then you can go to Vanguard Guard, and I'm like, come on then, the whole team needs to take me down. It's just something so special about the heroes of this game, and I think that's another thing I really do love. So I really hope you do come join us on For Honor. I believe year 8 is going to be a fantastic year from what I can see, and they're definitely trying to push it again with the release of the new versions coming to all platforms. They definitely want more people to come play this game. It's still here and it's still stronger, and I think it's one of Ubisoft's strongest live services, and probably has a way better community than Rainbow Six. Honestly, that is a very toxic community online, which is a shame because Rainbow Six used to be a really good tactical shooter. They do well. Anyways, people still enjoy it. I don't. Anyway, back to it. I believe I've got my point across. For Honor, I love combat. I love old style combat. I love knights, samurai, viking, all that, pirates, whatever, you chuck them in there. I hope they keep going for as long as they can with this game. Good to keep playing it as long as I can. I just love it. Like, I've been, throughout this whole recording process, I've been non-stop playing it. I think I've gone from what I started it at rep 60, I'm now 100. I was talking about this, so I've definitely smashed through it, got back into the old groove of it, found my characters I enjoyed and kept playing it. Like I said, I want more maps, which we're getting, thank you, just different environments and more people to fight against. That's why I've made this video. I want you to come fight me and other people and teabag and do whatever you want. You could be Hisakiri if you never mind, don't be Hisakiri, enjoy your life though. But yeah, I feel like I've got my point across. If you've stuck around for this extremely long For Honor video, I really do appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you feel like it. Honestly, up to you. I just appreciate the fact you stayed this long in the first place. Thank you, and hope to see you on the old battlefield. Ta-ta for now.